Thank you very much. Mr. Neal is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ambassador, I've been hearing from companies in Massachusetts, as we discussed earlier this morning, that manufacture here in the U.S. and also import, that a free trade agreement with the European Union could be beneficial both in opening European markets for U.S.-made products and for reducing costs to U.S. consumers for certain European products that they import. The Port of Boston would be an obvious gateway to expanded trade with EU. Is USTR considering a U.S.-EU FTA, and what might be the status of your discussions with your EU counterpart about this possibility?
Congressman, we are engaged at the direction of President Obama following the visit of the President of the EU here last fall. He and President Barroso instructed us to create what they call a high-level working group. And with strong encouragement from businesses across the country, we are exploring all options. Now, we've been very careful not to cast it or bias it, ahead of time of saying it would or would not be an FTA. And frankly, and it's a great opportunity to remind us that by a huge margin, this is the largest commercial relationship in the world. And frankly, one of the things I instructed our negotiators is to adopt, I guess, the trade equivalent of a Hippocratic oath, and one is let's do no harm, because this relationship has sort of worked without government. But we are exploring everything across all areas to, services liberalization, non-tariff, regulatory coherence. We've had about 5 meetings since the presidents have asked us to do that, but have tried our best to not restrict our teams as they work through us, but be practical, see where we have opportunities to liberalize trade, take cost out of the systems, but try and not prejudge the outcome.
And on a more parochial matter, we spoke again about enforcement today, and China has had severe problems with mandatory third-party auto liability insurance markets. And as these problems have become more compounded, the difficulty we have is that when we thought this was going to be an opening for American financial services, if anything, it's been a stalemate. I think that might be the best description. So I know that you've embraced firm enforcement as part of your tenure, and I hope you won't take your foot off the pedal on this issue. And I hope we're not going to lose momentum to make sure that China doesn't drag its feet in fulfilling its promise. As we indicated, there's been a huge chasm between those who thought that this was destiny in terms of new financial opportunities, only to discover the impediments in those markets have not turned out to be quite what was anticipated. And enforcement remains a big issue for all of us here. And I hope that with full market access for our companies, that they'll be able to readily apply for licensure along those lines.
Yes, first of all, again, I think the President's initiative in creating the Tech Task Force demonstrates our resolve to keep our foot on the pedal. And with respect to the third-party liability in the auto industry, one of the better outcomes from Vice President Xi's recent visit was we were able to get a very firm commitment from China that they will open up that market. Now, what we have to do is make sure we're diligent, as you said, in staying with working with China, that they'll move quickly to implement the regulatory changes to enhance that. But hopefully by the time I see you again, we'll have companies selling in that market.
Thanks, Mr. Ambassador. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr.